Hello there! Today we are going to work on the line art for my comic. Probably won't get around to doing the colors because there's a lot going on here. And I think it took me like 5 hours to do this sketch. But I was on a call with some friends when I was sketching it, so the distraction does get in the way and distracts me from being more productive. This comic is from the second book of the audiobooks that I finished narrating this year. Started late last year. It is a scene that I have been wanting to get around to for a while. It's a bit silly. There you go, that's better. The second book in the trilogy, maybe the most enjoyable, even though I really like the third book because everything comes together there, but there's just a lot that happens in the third book that's upsetting, even though it's still really good. So I'd say this is probably the more enjoyable one. And that is because this lady right here officially joins the party. And I enjoy her very much. And I think part of the reason I enjoy her so much, other than her just being fun to draw, is that she often butts heads with the main character. Oops, went over there. You can see right here, and right here, and right here. So I get to draw these fun little scenes of her just losing her mind. I don't really like that one. this is still what I have been spending a lot of time on. Just my own little fun personal project. Doing it because I enjoy working on these, but also with the hope that somebody else may also enjoy them. That looks weird because that needs to connect. You can probably hear my computer in the background. It's pretty old at this point. I probably should look into getting a new one eventually, but you know, those things cost money, and RAM is kind of expensive right now. So, if I must, I can deal with a fan that works harder. Oops. For a machine that continues to work for me. Didn't sketch these here, but they should probably go there too. Alright. Sometimes I freehand draw circles, and sometimes I use the circle tool. Kind of really just depends on my mood or what kind of circles they are. Oops, one size. I draw the boundaries of the lines within the frames because when I do the fill layer, I select the negative space and then invert that and do a fill and then a clip to layer. So when I get to triangles, like this little section of hair right here, if I tried to fill that, it would like leave a little section of pixels unselected. But if I selected the outside and invert that, it gets most of the space. Doesn't always, and then I still have to erase some spots, but I feel like that's a little, what's the word? More efficient than filling in that manually. I don't know if that makes any sense for anybody who's not a digital artist. And it's funny suggesting that I am a digital artist because I certainly draw digital art, but didn't really consider myself an artist because the stuff I draw is mostly there to support my writing, rather than just have really nice artwork for the sake of having it. If that makes any sense. So I really consider myself more of a storyteller who happens to draw. Rather than an artist who happens to be telling a story. And I took art classes in high school. I feel like a little bit of thumb should be a little bit of thumb, not that much. Yeah. But like, I never do commissions or anything. One, I don't think I'm good enough for that, and most of my art is just for myself to enjoy. And two, the amount of effort that I put into my other digital art pieces is pretty hard on my wrist, which gives me carpal tunnel, and I'm like, no amount of money is worth putting myself in that much pain. Even though doing audio editing, like editing a really long audiobook on my own, does also put a strain on my wrist and my hand. And it's still repetitive, but not as repetitive as it is for shading in digital art. And at least for these comics, I haven't been really shading them. I do some highlights for the shiny areas, but I don't shade them, which still gives it dimension so it doesn't look so flat. But there are fewer shiny parts than there are parts that need to be shaded. So I saved myself some work by doing that. That's bitterish. I feel like the hardest part, the most challenging part of doing these is the sketch, because I mess up a lot more. And I'm like, no, I don't like how that turned out. I need to redo that. Yeah, let's shift that. There we go. And doing the line art is mostly just cleaning it up and making it look good. I just still clean up this sketch where I need to, so I'm not trying to decipher what exactly does this part go to. And really doing the line art is just tracing over my own work. So I feel like it's not as mentally demanding as doing the sketch. And so I can chill a bit more. That doesn't quite look right, but and actually record some ASMR. So here we are. Do I really need to zoom in to do all these tiny little details? No. But I like knowing that things that are supposed to be there are there. Especially when they're relevant to the plot. way over. Yeah, sure. This is also the most panels I've done on a single page comic. Has 11, and most of the ones that I've done so far are about 9. Might be, it's fine. I give everyone like really long lashes. Even the dudes. Probably mentioned this before when I was doing my last drawing ASMR video, but I find it's much easier to do longer lines by dragging down the stylus instead of doing it across left and right horizontally. And that's just because the tablet is upright. Okay, do I have everything here? Just get that there. And nope. I'm gonna need to change this a few times. Okay, so I had 6 point for the staff. And I do this so when, let me put my fill layer now. Select the negative space, then go in between any parts that might, oh, no, don't refer to other layers, refer to this single layer. And there we go, refer to other layers, here, here. Yeah. Right here. Okay. And then expand by 1 pixel, inverse. What color am I gonna put you guys? You're gonna be, and that's just so I can differentiate them and make sure that everything's close when it comes to doing the colors later. Makes it a little easier for me. I'm just going to show you what I mean about doing the inverse. So you can see right now, like these little parts where her hair is, these little triangular areas, they're filled right now, but if I did another layer and I tried to select those layers by doing the positive, wait, wasn't, negative space is positive, the opposite of negative space. So if I did that and I still expanded it by a pixel, and then I filled it there, you can see that there's some spots that didn't get filled in. So by doing the negative space, it makes sure that that goes in there. But then for some areas, I don't see any right now. I have to like right here. I have to manually clean that up. And this is going to be shrunken down when I export it anyway, so most people won't notice it. But I will. Yep. Yep, that looks pretty clean. All right. So, maybe I should give some context for what's actually going on here. So these two very attractive adults are in the tournament, and these two teenagers are watching it. He is their favorite person. She's very protective of him and a little bit jealous. And the tournament just comes down to the two of them. I think it's easier for me to do profiles and with their noses facing the left, so I flip it when I can. And throughout the entire tournament, this lady here has been, maybe her nose should be a little bit more pointed. She's been wearing a dark cloak to hide her identity, but when it just comes down to the two of them in the last round, she throws it off. And our main character, Michelle, she's like, oh my god, no, she's hot. And she's like, don't let her distract you. But she starts flirting with him, and she's just not having it. There is a lot more going on with this scene that the main character doesn't understand at this point. So on the surface, it's a pretty funny scene, and it's why I've been looking forward to it for so long. But there is some deep plot going on. Okay. Like, which part is her hair and which part is her ribbon? She also has a robotic arm. But I don't think I've ever really been very consistent with drawing her thumb. See, would it really have made a difference if I kept those pixels there? Probably not, but if I don't do something about it, it's going to bug me. If I were trained in art and comics, I guess, I'm sure I could probably do this a lot more efficiently while still maintaining the impression of what is happening, so I don't actually have to draw every detail. But I am not self-taught, and this is the result of that. Okay. Baby, zoom out a little so I can get this line. That doesn't look good. I don't like that. That's not great. Okay, that's better. See, I could draw lines horizontally, it just doesn't feel as smooth or graceful. I don't know. If I knew anything about robotics or engineering, I probably could put like some more like buttons and stuff. I'm sure she's supposed to have levers. On her arm. Somewhere. Whatever. But it's easier, especially if I'm going to draw her over and over, to just have a few buttons. Don't like that. Even though this particular scene is 11 panels long, and that's still a lot of lining to do. I don't think it's nearly as demanding as one with a rather elaborate costume that I had to do. I don't even know how many panels that one was. Should probably do stuff on the foreground first because it makes it easier to figure out how long the lines actually extend to. Circles that I guess I'm going to freehand. These laces can take forever, but to make it easier for sketching, what I did is like just cross things over like this, and then okay, so it like goes from back to front lower, and then I just erase the middle section so I can see where all the lines are supposed to be. So when I actually get around to doing the line art part of it, I can just go like just like that, without actually having to figure out in the sketch layer. Okay, that's all her. Any more over here? I guess her entire hair is covered on this side. Just do that. Okay. Foreground staff. So let's put this back to, I'll put it on, yeah, I'll put 6. No, it's a little further back here, so make it 5. Put that back. another layer here, so I can erase these later. Is it necessary to have that little section of pixels right there? No. It's not going to show up. Look at these while I'm here. His gloves are weird. They're fingerless and palmless, and I'm like, what's the point? I mean, I guess it kind of looks cool, but I mean, it's gotta help a little bit with grip, right? And I designed their outfits a long time ago, so I'm mostly trying to remain faithful to what I drew before, because overall I still really like it, but sometimes I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Make that thumb a bit pointier. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, this is... I like that. Alright. Yeah, let's just finish up this do anything. Again, strange design choices, but we're going with it. Okay. Meh. Okay. I have to like remember how much hair is on each side of their face too, so I can maintain some sense of continuity. Here we go, the tiny details nobody but me is probably even gonna care about. Like, I have to zoom in so it's pixelated. But if there is somebody else out there who cares just as much as I do, I'm sure they will appreciate the inclusion of certain details. Yeah. Hair, collar. That's good enough. Duh. fun with that squiggly? Sure. I can see how that looks first before I decide to change it. That's fine. Bottom half, right? Okay. Yep. Okay, bottom hem. Gonna. Oi! Oh, there we go. Okay. I need to turn that off. And then duplicate that. Move it up. P. Okay. What parts are actually all the way down here to, yep, just there. All right, let's select the negative space. Anything that I'm missing here? Do 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 do. It's a very small area right here. I'll just still erase that. I think there actually should be a little frill right there. Also in between the fingers. There we go. Behind your head, over here. Select invert, fill. Get me rectangle tool. How? Shrink. There we go. Again, these are such tiny pixels. Is it really going to matter? No. No. This is not. Real good there. Okay. I've been going for like an hour now and I've only got 2 panels done. Though the sketch for the first 2 panels did take me the longest. So I guess the lines are it too. Anyway, I'm gonna take a little break and we'll be back. Gosh, it took me an hour to do 2 panels out of 11, so maybe it will actually take me 5 hours. I hope not. Like I said, the first 2 panels took the longest to sketch to, so hopefully we get through this a little quicker. I think I mentioned in my last drawing video that I wanted to treat myself to a stand mixer, and I have. It's been fantastic. I've been baking a lot more since I got it. Like yeast breads and then the usual scones that I make. I've also been using it to whip up some whipped cream and fluffy omelets. Fluffy omelets are really fun. It's like a cloud of protein that melts in your mouth. This goes on too long, I'm afraid that some neighbors will start coming home and making lots of noise, and I don't exactly want to subject you to that. One of my neighbors is extremely loud, and the other day, I presume it was because of the World Cup, he came home and screamed as if he found a dead body. And this happened 3 times. So I was like, well, it's not a dead body. It's not 3 dead bodies either. Because it was a really long stretch of time in between them, the screams. My God, do you have to yell that way? If it happened a 4th time, I was going to go and have a little chat, but it didn't, so spared me that confrontation, I guess. I should make this a little smaller than I sketched it to be. Maybe I should just keep that there on its own, or duplicate that, and then I'll have that again later, because this little, oops, this pen is in another panel. So if I just copy it over, that'll save me from drawing it over again. Not that it's terribly intricate, it's still I just add the tears on a separate layer when I've maybe put that on one of the color layers instead of the line layer. It's fine. I say about certain things, but other things I'm like, nope, we're not gonna take the easy way with that, but you gotta pick and choose your battles, right? Okay. That eyelash is definitely too high. I will fix that. I think your upper lip needs to be a little thicker too. Where does this scarf end? I'll just extend that then, I guess. These should be oh so slightly thicker. That is uneven. Okay, I might as well do the double. Don't like that. There. Good enough. This way I don't have to work so hard to make them parallel. getting back to the thought of baking, I was thinking of doing some baking ASMR. And I did when I first got my mixer, and I was just recording little shorts, cracking the egg, beating it in the mixer, cooking it on a pan, flipping it over, kneading some bread, baking in the oven, pulling them out, squishing them to make an audible crunch with the crust. But I have found that if I freeze the bread to make them fresher for longer, and I just thaw them in the microwave, and then reheat them in the air fryer, that does make it nice and crispy and tastes like it's fresh out of the oven, but even crispier than it was originally out of the oven. I've been baking with whole wheat bread or whole wheat flour, and I got some pure monk fruit sweetener to try to bake with. But because I use such a small amount, like, how much is that? Like maybe a quarter teaspoon to which would maybe be the equivalent of a cup of sugar. But because it doesn't have that bulk and that caramelization that happens from using a lot of real sugar, it does change the texture. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get a similar texture in like a cookie using the monk fruit sweetener for considerably fewer calories. But how to get that to work without it completely changing the texture of whatever it is I'm baking, which is probably cookies, because I don't really have that problem with bread or scones. I haven't experimented yet because I don't really have the space for it yet, but I did read that if you use bread flour instead of whole wheat or all-purpose, I can bring some chewiness to cookies, which I think I would really enjoy. I like chewy cookies. Crisp on the outside, chewy on the inside. Probably like making mochi muffins so much. I bought some rum extract to make pina colada mochi muffins, and I was like, what else can I use with this? So I tried to make rum cookies. But without sugar and with monk fruit sweetener instead. But the texture was very crumbly because it didn't have the sugar to caramelize and add that chew. But they were very buttery, and they pretty much just melt in my mouth. Which is cool if I wanted like just butter cookies. But I want something chewy. I don't know if I've mentioned it here before, but I can't really watch food ASMR, even though I like to bake and record that sometimes for my own channel. Because I like to watch ASMR to help me sleep, and being hungry is quite the opposite of being relaxed enough to sleep. Thinking of doing a recording too of just squishing the bread that I've baked next to my microphones. So you could hear how crispy they are. And probably not actually eat it. But I wonder if the crispy sounds would be enough to be relaxing. Because I like some crunching noises, even if it's not necessarily food. that look okay? Guess so. No, I didn't fill that one. I'll just do the whole row when I'm done with it. Here's her pen again. Let's bring that over. That won't be too pixelated. Should have gone the other way around. That's fine. Can I sharpen that filter? Ugh, that's ugly. Nah. That's fine. Yeah, I just don't know what else to talk about right now. Just focusing on working on this. Oh no, fireworks. It's not even dark yet. Oof. this? Oh, it's small, so I'll just freehand it. To draw her ear here. See the sketch here, like what even is that squiggle? Okay, make her hair a bit longer than I did in this sketch. Thinking back to my own experiences of being overprotective of my friends and disapproving of certain people, flirting with them. There was one case specifically back in middle school. It was 8th grade. One of my friends was on vacation visiting family in the Philippines. And she had a boyfriend at school. But when she was gone, one of my other friends started like flirting with him and making out with him and stuff. So I was just there and, you know, trying to let my friend who was at school know, hey, that's not cool, because our friend in the Philippines is also your friend too. She didn't care. She just wanted to make out with this guy. And he wasn't even that great. I don't get it. But we were hanging out outside of school, and he was there too. And at one point I was talking to another friend, and I turned around and they were just making out, and I screamed, being the 13-year-old that I was. I tried to tell our friend that was off in the Philippines too, like, you should probably know this. I'm not sure if I blatantly said, like, hey, your boyfriend is making out with somebody else. But by the time that she got back, she figured it out. I don't know if they broke up immediately, but she was pretty upset with our other mutual friend, and I didn't find out until later that how upset she was. And she did have every right to be upset over it. I mean, what kind of friend snatches up your boyfriend when you're on vacation visiting family? Not cool. And even if there wasn't like the 13-year-old cheating situation going on, I still felt like they could do so much better than him. And later on in college, when I was telling somebody who's somebody in my dorms about the situation, and they laughed and they're like, what, were you jealous? I was like, no. They deserve so much better. And I later figured that this person probably suggested jealousy because they would have been jealous in that situation. But come on, if your friend is dating a hobo with a 13-year-old boy, who's like cheating on his girlfriend with one of your friends, wouldn't you be vocal about it? That's not quite the same situation as what's going on here, though, in this comic. Even though it is a bit of, you can do so much better than her. Sure, she's hot, but she's like, this is the sweetest man alive, and you do not deserve him. I scratched her nose. There we are. Another, what is that, half hour? And I've got another row done. Two more to go. Let's see how quickly I can get through this one since it's a bit more cartoony. may have mentioned this last time in my other drawing video, but another reason the sketch layer takes so long is that I have to figure out how their clothes and hair look at different angles, and depending on the action that they're doing. She Angie here, so we're gonna make your hair spikier. And more rigid. May have mentioned this too, but I was also a very fiery tempered child, and as an adult I look back on that and I realize a lot of it was because my feelings were disregarded a lot and I wasn't taken seriously, so of course I'm gonna be angry about that. But as an adult, being in that same kind of situation just kind of made me dead inside. Thankfully, out of that situation now, but it's just funny how you think about survival techniques. One thing to be this angry when you're 16 years old. It's another thing to be that angry when you're 26. And by that point you have a better idea of what society expects out of you. So it's like, you should know better, you should know how to act now. And that, at least in that situation, it was more of a matter of, yeah, I guess society just doesn't want me to feel anything. So let me deaden all emotion and be a lifeless husk of a human. But visiting this story again and working on the comics, I just think it's funny. Because I do remember a lot of what it's like to feel a certain way about certain things, the injustice of it all, but also be able to express that in a comedic kind of way. That doesn't look like very nice fire. Probably should turn on a light. And I'm mostly done with this panel, so I should probably get up and take another stretch break in a moment. What time is it? Oh, okay. My annoyingly loud neighbor me be coming home soon. In which case, I do not want to subject anybody to the noises, because I certainly don't think that is conducive to relaxation. So I may have to end it when that happens. But I don't want to rush this, and I do want to take care of myself as well by taking proper stretch breaks at regular intervals. So, be back for another break. And we're back. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I just want to add a little curl here. Does that look weird? Oh well. Right, this is her ribbon. That looks weird. Yeah. Oh, totally forgot about her. Roll my arm. Let's probably start her out here. There you go. Hey, hold on. Get her fur back here. All right. Yeah. I would like to make friends with some of my neighbors, but they're dog people. They have dogs. I do not. I'm allergic. I don't really know how to deal with dogs. It's not that I don't like them. I'm just like, well, I can't pet you. And I wonder if my lack of furry animal companion makes me seem very snooty. It's almost been a year since I had to put my cat down. And that's a donor topic. There's her eyelash. I do occasionally watch cat videos. I was watching one the other day about it was from the subreddit One Orange Brain Cell. And it was an orange cat with one of those talking buttons, and she kept pressing the one that was for treats. So the button kept going, treatsies! And her mom was recording it, and she was like, no, princess, no, you already had treatsies. You're supposed to be on a diet. So I just think it's cute and cool when other people also call their cat princess. I called my cat many things, seldom her actual name, which was Bubbles. It was really only when we took her to the vet and I was like, Bubbles is here. I called her Bubbakin and Baby and Princess, because she was a princess. It's probably her personality that made me want to call her that. It's not like she's snooty. I just was inclined to spoil her. Well, that sucks. I don't know how much of the recording I lost, but I just noticed now that it wasn't recording, so... Well... At least it wasn't screen recording, at least I got the audio for it. The audio is what really matters, right? That's what people mostly pay attention to. But this is a drawing video, so... kinda necessary. I don't know. I'll see in editing how much I lost. Oops, no. Oh, I must have put his thumb on a different layer because it's erased. One of my friends asked me if I'm going to get another cat, and I mean, I would love another cat at some point in my life, but just where my career is right now, I don't think it's the best time. The cat distribution system will do its job, though, I'm sure, when I am ready. I adored my cat, but I also feel like I used her as an excuse a lot of the times to not do things, like not go on vacation, not take certain jobs that might have to require me to travel. I wonder why it stopped recording. Maybe it got to like 2 hours and it was just like, well, that's really long. You should stop now. And it didn't tell me that it stopped recording. How much longer is this going to take me? I don't know. It would be nice to do the entire line art in a video, but sometimes certain things work against me, so I may not entirely be able to do that. It's not like I don't want to record the entire thing, but you know, screaming neighbors who act like they've just seen a dead body when maybe their team like missed a goal or something. I don't know. I don't watch sports. What I have been watching, one of my favorite YouTube React channels, Bad Medicine, they're watching Bridgerton right now, which I haven't seen myself. I wasn't particularly interested in watching the show by myself, and I guess I still haven't. But the really entertaining thing about watching them is that they're a bunch of like middle-aged tough guys, and they're really into this show. Like, they're so caught up in the drama and the romance, because Bridgerton is considered a girly period drama. So yeah, it's just especially entertaining. This past week they started the Queen Charlotte spin-off miniseries. And it's only 6 episodes long. So this week, I was like, I don't particularly feel like waiting until next week. I think I actually want to watch that myself, since it's only like 3 more episodes. So yeah, I watched the last 3 episodes of Queen Charlotte on my own. And like, I get the appeal of like the main show for people who like romance, that they're just these young, pretty people in cool period costumes. And then there's like the social politics and everything that's also really entertaining. But for me, what really got me was like the end of Queen Charlotte, when in the present she and George are in his quarters and she crawls under the bed to get him to join her and listen to the good news that she has to share. And I was like, that part got me, because I was like, oh my god, they're like old and they're so cute. Because there's like, you know, there's like the steamy stuff in the rest of the show, which, being an asexual person isn't really my jam. But you have old people romance like that, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so cute. I'm gonna make his pupils bigger here. Yeah, I guess that is something else I'm hesitant about for doing such a long video. It's like, what if my equipment suddenly decides to stop recording on its own? Like, if I had known it would stop recording at 2 hours, I would have taken precautions to get ahead of that and take matters into my own hands so I wouldn't lose any footage. But now I know, I guess, because I've never really recorded more than, I don't even know how long the last recording was for the drawing. Okay, there's one more. Because she's looking that way, I'm going to flip it. Ugh. I don't know if her expression here is too ambiguous. I know what she's thinking. But I suppose it is maybe more entertaining for the reader to not know and find out later. Like, oh, that's why she reacted that way. I have really enjoyed revisiting this story. I may have mentioned this in my other video, I keep saying that, but I don't really feel the draw to the draw to start writing a new story. I'm like, I'm good. I've got this to entertain me in the meantime. And my work, although slow in the last month, keeps me occupied enough, bringing other people's stories to life with my voice, that I'm perfectly content not working on my own writing. I used to love drafting, and I wonder maybe if I tried it again I might still. But I have noticed, at least when I was recording the audiobook for this, when I was editing the third book to prepare it for narration, I actually really enjoy revision. Like making the words that are there better, make them flow better, make them more effective, punchier. Wouldn't it be cool to be a book editor? But that's not the way life turned out for me. It's fine. My job is plenty cool. And a lot of people could start writing a story. But how many people can say that they're a voice actor? Not just a voice actor, but a full-time voice actor. And I think my child self would be really proud. I'm still getting by, but at least in the last month, work was so slow that I managed to get 8 one-page comics completed. Well, one of them wasn't even a comic, it was more like a photo montage. And another was just a still of them. Just a single image of them running through enemy territory. Is that how I would describe it? I mean, it is, but things are a little more complicated than that. But you learn to try to parse things down into a way that sounds more digestible for people who do not have the patience. Speaking of patience, my goodness. I was trying to do a giveaway for the audiobooks. And it is astounding and horribly ironic that people who enter a giveaway for books do not read the description. Because I completely act out the audiobook. It's written in first person, present tense, so everything that's happening is immediate and present. And because this is written in the voice of a 15, 16-year-old girl, that might be kind of annoying to some people. So I wanted to make sure that before they enter, they actually listen to the previews of the books. So if they want to be if they're interested in listening to 3 books written and narrated in that style. So when I got the emails of the winners, I would double check with them before sending them the redemption codes. Like, please listen to the previews and let me know if you're still interested, and then I will give you the redemption code. And at that point, some people were like, I think I'm too old for this. And I just have to be like, keep it inside, keep it to myself. You wasted so much of my time by entering this when I specifically asked in the description not to enter if you're not interested in listening to an entire trilogy written and narrated in that style. And the irony, the irony that people who are interested in written books, even if they're spoken aloud, do not read. Everything here okay? Let's see. Ooh, missed that. Eyebrow. Otherwise, I feel like her expression is pretty subtle. It's not like this. All right, there's another row. How long is this last one gonna take me? Well, my noisy neighbor has not slammed their front door yet. So I think it's safe to continue working for a little longer. How much longer? I'm not sure. This lip looks kind of funny here. I've heard back from one person at least who got the audiobooks. That she's really enjoying it and finds the main character hilarious. I'm just glad that this time the first time I used this giveaway host, it was only for 20 winners, and I had like a 10% response rate. So this time I was like, I'm going to say that there will be 100 winners. I am only going to choose, it's not going to be worldwide, it's only going to be for the countries that have like 80% or more English speakers, because if it's for an audiobook and you do it worldwide and a lot of countries don't speak English, like, it's kind of, a waste, especially if people don't read the description. So this time I have had a slightly higher response rate, but I am certainly glad that I'm giving out 100 prizes. So with that percentage in mind, I have like maybe like a 33% response rate. Even still, some of these people are like, oh, let me listen to the preview now. I think I'm too old for this. I don't like the writing style. My husband and son changed their mind and want to read another book instead. Well, you would have known what you had the potential to win if you had actually read the description and listened to the audiobook sample in the description before entering, like I asked. But I guess some people just want free things even if they don't actually want the thing that's free. The audacity. Anyway, complaining about that probably isn't very relaxing. So, back to doing this line art. Yeah. Clean that up later. All right. Staff. Well, since I've been going over for doing this for over 2 hours at this point, if I sneak in a little adult humor here, I mean, I don't think that I have any children subscribed to me. But I think it's funny. Because when I was sketching this, I was on a call with some friends and we were talking about, I forgot what, we were talking about a lot of different things. But they pointed out how sometimes I would say things and it would sound so dirty, but it's just me being I wouldn't say absent-minded, just what's the word? I'm just not that aware of how I word things sometimes. So recently I was holding a little workout room, which is like just peer-to-peer voice actors teaching each other skills. And it was an audio sample mixing workout room. And somebody left in an audible clap with their hands. And I was like, okay, I normally, like, that stuff I would add in post, just because when you clap like that, it does bring in, it makes your treatment in your room, or lack of treatment, more apparent, because you can hear the reverb in the room. But I worded it some way like, I wouldn't play with your hands like that, or something. So to them it sounded very dirty, but I was just trying to explain. So they were just like giggling and being children in the chat. And I was like, oh no, what did I say? And here, several times I may have very well said some things that have inadvertently sounded dirty, and that's just what happens. What brought on this idea? I think it's this and this. Because I was in a call with friends and I was talking about drawing certain curves. And then I showed them the sketch whip and they're like, yep, that is a size. I also think it's interesting how I deliberately did not give her any earrings here, because they're in a fighting tournament and those things are gonna get ripped off, but here you are with his. Never takes his off though. Like I said, little details that nobody else would meet but me would really pay attention to. I notice I am going a little faster with this one, and is that because I know what I'm doing, or because this has been going on for a while and I want to get more done before a certain annoying screaming man gets home? Forgot to put the seam here on her collar the first time I did it. You'll also notice that I put the sketch layer, it's just slightly transparent, so I don't make the mistake of accidentally drawing on that layer. I could probably just lock it, but I notice, like, if it looks less than black, then that probably means that I'm on the wrong layer. This morning, well, last night I was also in a call with some voice acting friends, and somebody brought up Schindler's List, and I said, I have never seen that. And they're like, it's really good, but it's like one of those movies that you only watch once. And I was like, I think I'm good. The world is not that great of a place right now, and I don't necessarily need to watch something that dark and heavy. But this morning, they were talking about Ralph Fiennes' performance in it and how terrifying he was. Like, just being a totally normal guy, and that was like the terrifying thing about it, because he would just like get up and have his coffee, and then he would go out with a rifle and start shooting people. So this morning I was telling another friend about our talk about that, and he was like, Ralph Fiennes is delightful in the Grand Budapest Hotel. I was like, I shouldn't have done that. I don't think I've ever seen Ralph Fiennes be delightful in anything. I mean, sure, he was like hamming it up for Voldemort. So my friend's like, you should watch it. And so this morning I did. And he was indeed delightful. I don't know if that line there needs to be anything, or if that's just a weird stray line that I happen to leave. It's a really colorful movie too. I enjoyed all the the colorful 60s set, and then the 30s set. I think more directors should be inclined to use color in that way. Especially in times like this, when we need a little more cheerful whimsy in the world. Even though that was back in 2014. I think it's important for entertainment to be a sort of what's the word? Well, like the opposite of however the world is doing. So you have a little more balance in the world. Dark times, you need more colorful color and lightheartedness and laughs. Another panel. Mostly don't need to clean up the frame lines. Okay, did that. No, that probably should be filled. It's off by like a pixel. All right. Just two more. Probably should just start with the back. there's a lot going on over here. Okay, let's see. Don't want to rush it. Even I would like to finish this soon. Don't want to do a sloppy job. There's a lot going on here. When I first started doing these comics, I did add like more line weight to like the lower portions of the lines, like where the shadows would be, kind of like that, but that took a lot longer, and I was like, it's such a small thing, the majority of the people are not even going to notice, so I stopped doing that. Okay, I should maybe close this now. Okay, almost done with this one, and then I need to take another stretch break before I do the last one. Alright, almost there. One more break. Alright, let's finish this. Oh boy. So what is going on in this panel? You may have noticed the title of the file. I'm not going to say that out loud because it's kind of rude and I don't know if it's going to trigger anything for the bots or whatever. But our main character here is calling this very hot lady a rather rude name. He's like, hold on, I thought you were friends with her. They had met before, but wouldn't necessarily call her a friend. Not yet, anyway. That might be part of the reason why I like why I enjoy our cyborg ladies so much, because our main character makes fast friends with most of the other characters. But with Cyborg Lady, it's like, maybe I should make her pupils smaller. It does take them a little while to trust and respect each other. But they do eventually. And we like to see that kind of character growth, right? I forgot to do her earrings on this one. Starting to feel the wear on my stylus tip. Right, other hand. That's fine. Where should I start here? I was like, is that his collarbone? But shirt should be a little higher there. It's actually a lot easier to draw since he's so obscured. Alright, now his hair, because I made his hair way messier in this panel because I was tired. I was trying to make some sense out of it, make it look a bit neater if possible. Is that okay? Clean up the edges. Okay, there's that. There's that. And oops. Okay. Is that it? Alright, now just gotta do our fill layer. Oh, where did it go? Where do you select all? Expand, select, invert. There we go. Clean this up. Turn the frames all the way back up. What's our hair figure over here? Oops. Forgot a line here. And here. Okay, probably have some more cleanup to do, but finally done. My goodness, that did take a while, didn't it? Hope all my recording is okay. Let me turn that off so maybe it'd be a little bit easier to check that out. And there we go. That was a lot. This is, again, the most panels I've had on a single page, so that was a lot of work. Well, thank you for joining me for that. I am going to save and clean up the file, and hopefully I didn't lose too much footage. Thanks. Have a good one.